What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a look at Thymesia, I guess? I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but you read the title, you know what it is. This is a game people had mentioned to me a few times, and it saw its official release yesterday, so it's out right now if you want to go take a look at it. And it's relatively cheap, full price, it's like $25, and first and foremost, this game is a Souls-like. Or more specifically, it's a lot like Bloodborne and Sekiro. Now, it is definitely more AA than a lot of From Software's games, so something to keep in mind. But story-wise, we play as an agent who is codenamed Corvus. We have a sort of a plague doctor aesthetic going on, and the game sees the world ravaged by a plague, and we are trying to deal with that in some manner. In typical Souls-like fashion, the story is a little bit secondary, quite frankly, to the gameplay, and obviously with the game like this, the combat is really the big focus. So the combat itself, honestly, pretty solid, feels good. I would tell you there are parts of it I don't care for, which I will explain. So for starters, every enemy has 2 health bars, really. Their regular health and then their wounds. Wounds is the green secondary health bar that they have. You have to get both of these health bars down to 0 before you can kill an enemy. And different attacks will do more or less damage to each individual health bar, so there's some kind of general mixing there, but once you get a feel for it, it's not so bad. Now, I would tell you, this is actually an element where you can kind of see the double-A-ness of the game, if you will, because your character has a white and green bar in the lower left corner, which you might, off the top of your head, think is the same thing. But you would be wrong. Your health bar is just the white bar. If that reaches 0, you die. Your green bar is actually your plague. It's essentially your magic and your special attacks that you can use plague weapons with. Plague weapons are just in addition to your regular weapon, which is a saber, so you can have, depending on exactly how you've upgraded, a few of these equipped, and whenever you have enough plague, you can essentially perform a special attack of some sort with the plague weapon you have equipped. It's also possible to steal temporarily plague weapons from other enemies that are one use. However, you can unlock basically every variation of plague weapon this way and give yourself a bunch of special attacks that you can kind of build up to. Now, another part of the combat that I wanted to mention is it's very action focused. Like, they want to keep you moving and attacking. It's definitely not passive. It's not turtle-esque, if you will. You're not going to be hiding behind a shield. It's very fast paced. And as such, you don't really have a block button, but you do have a deflect button, which will let you parry. However, in my experience with the game, the parry or the deflect has been mostly useless because the deflect will stop the attack, but it won't stop the string of attacks that are happening, meaning that oftentimes you'll just deflect one attack to immediately get hit with the follow-up, which means 9 out of 10 dodging is usually just more effective than the deflect, because all deflect really does is stops you from taking damage. And then on the flip side of that, when you're hitting an enemy, they can often be staggered, and in some cases it's possible to get enemies into a sort of loop where they're constantly taking so much damage they don't really have a chance to react to you, which is fine for a more action-oriented system, but I have noticed that enemies with more health are very inconsistent about their hit reactions to you this way, in that sometimes a combo will kind of stagger an enemy and let you perform more combos, and then other times that same combo just won't stagger the enemy, and I assume there's some sort of metric being accounted for behind the screens not actually being shown to me that is being affected in some different way. Nonetheless, it's noticeable that oftentimes when you hit things it does not react the same way every time, which for a game like this is kind of important. But that's primarily something I noticed with larger enemies who have more health and the bosses. Now, in addition to these things, we can of course upgrade various parts of our loadout. So we level up with memories as we are playing through the game. It's largely a mission structure, meaning that there's a sort of central hub that you can run around in a little bit, but then you will recall memories, which play out like little missions that you undertake in a very Souls-like fashion. There will be beacons that you find and then rest at, where you can spend your memory shards or memory fragments to then level up and upgrade all of your stuff. Now, as you level up, you'll actually also gain talent points, and these can be used to modify some of the basics of your normal loadout, like your movement, your dodge, your follow-ups, that type of stuff, which make you more versatile. However, there is a max level in this game, meaning that there is only so much of these you can do. And each time you level up, you can upgrade your health, damage, or plague, which will raise the appropriate stat, but relatively minorly. And then in addition to these, you can also upgrade your potions, allowing you to take more with you, which will allow you to heal more. And as you upgrade your potions, you can then later add ingredients to them, which will change the effect that they have, or add extra effects to the potion as well, which is overall pretty cool. That said, there's not really equipment you're going to be tracking down. You're just kind of upgrading your basic kit. And in terms of exploring the little levels that you're in, most of what you'll be doing is finding various bits of lore that kind of explain the situation a little more, and these will usually give you collections of memories, which can then be used to essentially give you more experience and level up a little bit. But most of the exploration isn't going to lead to you finding cool new items or anything like that. So overall, I would tell you the combat is a lot of fun. They clearly put a lot of emphasis into it. It's kind of got this flow to it that you get in after a while, and again, it's very attack heavy, which means a lot of the enemies you're fighting are very fast, and it kind of feels like a slow and steady approach doesn't really work. You kind of need to be on the offensive. But nonetheless, it's very fast paced, it's pretty fun, and it's also a relatively cheap title. And in that way, it's very positive for me. But I would tell you that it's definitely a AA experience. It does kind of lack some of that finer polish in my opinion outside of the combat. But overall, definitely a lot of fun, and I've been enjoying it so far, so I wanted to share it with you guys. But by all means, let me know how you feel about it down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear if you guys have tried it out or not yet. But either way, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.